Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our series, Conversations with Amy Schneider, Silva instructor in Atlanta and Northwestern North Carolina, and myself, Ken Coscia, Silva's lead instructor, training director, now going into 55 years doing this wonderful work. So happy you're here. Thanks for watching today. We want to explore and upgrade to managing your inner dialogue, how to cultivate some hope and some optimism, how to what we call mental house cleaning, use it more effectively. So I'll lead in and then Amy's going to jump in like what we've been doing lately. So typically in the Silva training, way back when, in the early days, 66 up to 2007, we called it the Basic Lecture Series for those of you who've read the books. Now it's the same program. We call it in 2007, rebranded to Silva Life and Intuition System, but we added some really cool of Jose's advanced material and made it much more relevant to the present day. And this is typical because mental house cleaning, managing your thoughts, it's not about quote unquote just thinking positive, it's about being positive. And why is that important? Because your thoughts are a catalyst to your feelings, your emotions. And when you catalyze, you trigger, you release a feeling and emotion, it immediately, instantaneously causes the brain to release neuropeptides. And those neuropeptides, chemical messengers of your body, affect how you feel, whether you feel happy, joyful, optimistic, pessimistic, or how your blood is flowing properly, whether you have good flow to the brain, to your body, circulation, heartbeat, breathing, the whole gamut. Your performance is affected. So this is, although some think it's not so spiritual and it's so basic, it's probably one of the most basic, fundamental, foundational skills we all need because we live in a world that's not always positive. And neuroscience teaches us it's much easier by default to go negative because we're in survival mode by design. Number one priority, survival. Number two, security, to be safe. So if we don't manage it, if we're not mindful, consciously aware, self-aware enough, good luck. That's all I'll say. So that's our hope. So with the mental house cleaning, it's a process. It's a pattern interrupter to prevent worry from escalating, to prevent fear and anger from escalating to the point where we get debilitated by it. So what I want to add in here, Amy, is that it's important, good, healthy psychology, to feel what you're feeling, to allow your feelings. This is not about ignoring or denying your feelings. If you've had an upset, you're upset. If you're angry, if you're disappointed, you're feeling what you feel. If you're grieving a loss, you don't want to rush that. Just not wallow in it to the point where you get stuck there and that's all you focus on. That's the key. Identify it, feel, and allow yourself the space, whether you need hours, days, weeks, months, depends how serious it is, whether you need to have therapists guide you professionally. And then you work on reframing it and refocusing on how you want to be. So the simple tool, what do you think, Amy? Should I mention the pattern interrupter is?
Yes.
So, Amy, let's say it together. It's a ridiculously sounding expression, comes right out of the early days of computer industry. You make a mistake or you catch yourself with a negative thought or words make a difference and you say something that you don't mean to say that's not so positive. We say,
Cancel.
say it again loud, Amy.
Cancel, cancel.
One more time. It's okay.
Cancel.
It sounds so ridiculous. Let's face it, that's why it works. It's a pattern interrupter. There's so many variations that people get creative with, the most copied, most imitated, but it works because in psychology, they call pattern interrupters. It begins with self-awareness, recognizing a pattern. And some people have a pattern of thought where they catastrophize and worry excessively, and they always lean to the negative. They don't have the self-awareness, understand that's how we're designed, yes, biologically, neurologically, but we're not stuck there. And then you got to reframe it. Amy, how about what are some examples of things that we want to reframe that you find from your experience?
So, some examples, some common phrases that we hear quite a bit. I can't believe that I had this conversation with this person at work. They are such a pain in my neck.
Cancel, cancel. And then the reframe is Amy. Can you see them as an opportunity to grow? Can you also see that maybe there's something about them that reminds you about some of your idiosyncrasies? They're mirroring to you, which is, by the way, really what it amounts to, folks.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
How about another one with your children? Ah, I know each of your children, by the way, guys. They're wonderful human beings, and they've all been in my classes.
Whenever you're put on the spot, right?
You don't want to be too personal, I realize, but right, maybe not too, because your kids may watch this video and you don't want them to use it against.
I've got one, and I think that our viewers can relate also. What I hear often, especially in my house with two teenagers and one going to be there soon, and they are always hungry, and there's a lot of snacks. And so, if there's a favorite snack that they all love, mom, they so insert child's name here, always takes the last one. Always takes the last one. It never fails. I don't understand.
Cancel. They seem to take the last one frequently, but has it been 100% of the times? So that they're not focused because we make a difference. We affect each other.
Yeah, we absolutely do.
You know, our intention, Amy and I, we want to upgrade this because in the class we teach there's a lot of these tools and deep dive. But one of the things that's really important, I wanted to say about not owning your disease and not identifying with your challenges. Meaning people say, I'm a diabetic. No, you're not. Your name is Joey Jones. Your body is experiencing diabetes. Your body is experiencing arthritis or whatever it is. I'm not looking to minimize the disease, however serious it may be. But one of the first, and this is just good medical bedside manner with this, not owning that and perspective. Another thing people say, I've given up, but meanwhile, they're asking you for help. So I guess you really haven't given up. People say, I'm lost. Here you are now. So are you really lost or you just temporarily got misplaced? I lost my keys. Be careful. Words make a difference. Focus on what you want. Another biggie would be failure. More and more, you listen to highly effective, highly successful people, and they'll tell you it's almost universal. I've learned more from my mistakes than any success. I've learned more from when I've messed up, when I've screwed up, because there's something about that you're learning what not to do. But when we mess up, what they're not telling you, they don't realize it triggers a lot of emotion. It's painful. Ah, geez. And that's like the shield goes down and we're more vulnerable. We learn. So if you can cancel, I'm learning what not to do. It's a way to change patterns. It's emotion that's the driver. So when you're in the heat of the moment, you got to be careful. Not thinking about it now. When you're in the heat of the moment, that's when you change it because you're in that emotion. The emotion is what drops the shield and what helps us to create new imprints and reprogram literally the subconscious for that. So you're not a failure. You've learned what not to do.
I would love to, what you were just saying, it sparked a lot of things for me as a mom with three kiddos, especially as they are learning and growing and doing new things. I feel like, especially in today's world, we can get everything immediately. We don't have to wait for it as long. And I think that stretches to skill sets and learning that we think that, oh, if I just watch someone how to do this particular skill, how to play basketball, how to make an award-winning cake, then I should I should know how to do it. My kiddos, they get a little upset. Oh, that this person is better than me. And so I'll never be as good as this person at this skill. It's not just my kids, it's kids as they learn. And it's also adults too. I think it's really important for us to understand that some of us do truly have those God given gifts of being able to play music without ever having to have had a lesson in our life, but that's very few and far between. Most of the time, we're learning, reading, practicing, and it's the practicing and practicing and practicing, and it becoming muscle memory and then intuitive, and then figuring out how to do things differently that gives us that skill. And it's not immediate. It's not immediate. So, really having grace and patience with ourselves and the mental house cleaning can help us do that, is to help recognize, hey, this is what I'm feeling in the moment. Is it where you're going to be 10, 20 years from now? Probably not. So have grace and patience with yourself and recognize, cancel, and reframe. Some of the things we're working on, such as those health challenges we were just talking about, is they're difficult. They're challenges. They may not be solved overnight by any means. And in some cases, you may have been in the challenge for a really long time. So it's very difficult to see the end or see the solution that we want. So is it practical to say, oh, cancel, everything will be better tomorrow? No, it helps us to at least acknowledge where we're at and stop the pattern of thinking, because the more we think about it, the more we give energy to what we don't want.
Wow, that's brilliant. You reminded me of some things. I think if you, the listener, watcher, just bring this home with you, because what often people do when we look at other people, I can remember myself starting out. Oh God, I could never be like Harry McKnight. He's so articulate and everybody loves him. And then I looked at other instructors and he has an amazing story. He used to be a drug addict and used Silva to overcome that. What's my story? I used to think I was flunking out of college and used Silva to graduate in highest honors. And I also became the youngest instructor on the planet while I was still a student. But I thought less of myself because I was comparing to others. And that's part of mental health cleaning. To what Amy's saying is to have some self-compassion and appreciate who we are. But also, just recently, I just completed a master's the advanced training. And one of our grads from Chicago came, and she's been a grad of mine in the immersion for a few years. Her name is Liz. She was inducted into the Chicago Hall of Fame for blues. She's a blues guitarist. And
Great.
Liz, if you're watching this, she's not a spring chicken either. We're close in age. She's definitely younger. But musicians, they live for their music. They play. And when you see a master or somebody, it's because they live it. They do it. And they practice. That's what creates mastery, is you get an immersion of ideas, an immersion of information and training, and then you've got to repeat and repeat, because repetition is what makes it permanent, and it makes it automatic. You're on automatic pilot, and of course, apply it. With that, people look at us Silva instructors. Now they call me the best of the best. I should hope I got something after 55 years. With respect, that's all I've ever done. I've done hundreds and hundreds of these classes and working with other instructors. So the point is, if we lose hope, we lose everything. In neuroscience studies, Dr. Andrew Newberg, when at the University of Pennsylvania, they did over 15,000 brain scans and found that the most important thing for the brain, for the health of the brain, is to have faith that somehow, some way, things will work out, to have the confidence that we can figure it out. Even though, like Amy said, it might take you 100 years, it might take you 10 days, it's not a quick fix. But when you have hope, when you have that faith, and instead of saying, oh, woe is me, I'm screwed, I'm a loser, I'm a disaster, you become pessimistic. When you get pessimistic, you can feel helpless and hopeless. And if you go into a depression, then you're not thinking clearly. You lose access to your higher thinking functions and your wisdom. When there's hope and you have that optimism, it doesn't mean you're going to solve it now, but you'll be more likely to access intuitive wisdom, ideas, and your higher thinking functions. And that is what's so phenomenal and so important about what we in Silva Method call mental house cleaning. There are so many layers of it. And if you're finding this helpful, please share this with somebody who could use this message and learn from it. We've given you some takeaways with just the cancel and reframing that. So important, guys. People need help. People can benefit from that because we're in this together. And when you and I are a little bit better, a little happier, we bring that into our lives. We bring that into the relationship. And I think we could use more. So I'm so glad you were here. I look forward to sharing more with you. And Amy, parting thoughts?
I just want to say that in I just want to remind actually everyone that where you are now, it took so many little tiny miracles to occur. And you are a miracle. There are so many successes that occurred to get you right here, right now. And when you are looking at practicing mental house cleaning, recognizing where you're at now and cancel and reframing it, if you find it hard to reframe as a positive, then focus on what you do want. Or may I offer to think back to all of the successes in that area that you've had, where your negative thinking is, think about it as where have the successes been? And or just start giving gratitude to whatever you are happy about or thankful for in in that moment or for that day. It will shift your energy.
Yeah, big time. Remember, folks, we're here for you. Other questions come up, leave them in the comments or email us. We want to continue this series. This is important. It's a work of art and a privilege to teach it. And it's an honor you gracing us with your presence. So until the next time, remember you are far better and have far more capability than you realize. You are more powerful. Learn it and live it.